Why is it not good and appropriate to get upset with God? In the previous video we had a look on some of the reasons for which it is not good to get upset with God and which show that we're not actually right when we do it, even if all of us can have that kind of thought and feeling sometimes. Now we'll have a look on the other reasons. One of the causes for which people might get upset with God is the fact that they see Him as a supreme judge, which He is, and they don't approve that, thinking that many of the times the people doing the wrong things are not actually doing them with purpose, and the fact that God calls those people to give an account of their actions makes them to get upset with Him. Some people are even having good intentions, but will still be accounted as sinners in front of God one day. We know though that even having good intentions, there is nothing really good out of Him. That means that only what comes from Him and is good in His sight and He approves can be accepted by Him. But why is that? See what? Many people get upset for this reason, as they don't actually understand this, and in this way they have a wrong opinion about God and the wrong type of view. We can say that God is without any feelings and He just wants to judge everybody by the fact that He sent His only begotten Son, the one who was most precious for Him, so that whoever believes in Him doesn't perish but have eternal life. Here we see His love, here we see that also we are precious in His sight. How can we be really convinced in that and know certainly this love, by accepting it and believing really in it? In this way, we will know for sure and will be able to experience it in our life. To have a better idea and view on His judgment and the way in which He sees and judges sin, we need to know another thing, or better said, another of His attributes. This is that God is a God of order, and He also reacts with everything according to this order. 1 Corinthians chapter 14 verse 33 says, "For God is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all the churches of the saints." And 1 Corinthians chapter 14 verse 40 says, "Let all things be done decently and in order." Here in these verses and in their context, it speaks about the order regarding the prayers in the churches, but we can see the character of God in general. That He is not an author of confusion, but of peace. He is so high and so elevated that we cannot even grasp a glimpse of His greatness, but still He is involved in the least of the details, and this is us included, as He cares for everything, and this also makes part of His nature, which is having to do with order. Many of the things He does are having to do with that. He cannot bear any sin or the minimum disorder happening anywhere. If any disorder is left as it is at the moment, and this is what mainly is happening in this world, it is because God is patient, and instead of judging and ending everything now as He is supposed to do, He sent His Son to pay for the debt and the sin, so that people can be saved and the opportunity to be given to many, even if we know that not everyone will accept it. According to His order, according to what is right, He had to let us pay now, but He decided instead to suffer and to pay for the sin. This sacrifice He did just confirms His nature of order, because if He could have just decided deliberately not to let us pay, then He was going to do it. He was going to forget about the sin without letting anyone pay, neither us and neither the Son. But He couldn't have done it, someone had to pay. Things needed to be done in this way, as this is in Him. The question here is that He cannot go against His nature and just decide something, as many people think of Him. Yes, indeed, He can decide things, but everything He does will be based on His justice. He couldn't leave the sin unpunished and unpaid. He couldn't do that because of His nature. He's having principles that He cannot override. He cannot contradict Himself and His principles. We can say that He is submitted to Himself. That's also the reason for which the people are going to be judged one day. He cannot just avoid this. He cannot avoid this judgment. The people are going to be judged, and for a reason, but because He is like that, because of His nature. But we can see His love where do we see his love? In the fact that he sent his only begotten Son to die for us so that we are not going to be judged, we who believe and have repented are not going to receive this judgment upon us. That's why he sent his Son. He did this for love. When we speak about his judgment and justice, we're not speaking about things that he likes or not, if we can say so. These are laws that cannot be changed in front of him. The idea that he decides things based on what he likes and just chooses can make people to get upset with God. Imagine him as a mere man that sits on his throne and just decides what to do next based on what he likes and changes his mood as he wants to. No, God cannot be compared to some of the judges or rulers here on earth. He is not an old man with a white beard sitting on his throne. He is much more than that, and we need to fear him with a deep respect. When we say that he is not like a man taking decisions based on what he likes, we're speaking about a man with a wrong and sinful judgment based on his selfishness. God doesn't do it in this way. He obviously likes and dislikes things, but all of this is entirely based on his justice, meaning that he cannot like something wrong. He is also not pleased when someone gets lost. He doesn't want to judge people. That's why he sent his Son to die. He wants to be on our side. But sadly, some people will get lost and will be judged as they will reject his gift. The invitation which I'm making to all of you today, listen, is to accept his Son, to accept this gift he made for us. Only in this way we can receive his forgiveness, and only this way we can escape his judgment. And this is his desire for us, that we can be saved. Otherwise he would have sent his Son, but he did it. So today we need to take his helping hand and cry out to him and ask him to forgive us and come into our lives.